welcome back. This is Before the Mic, the podcast where I deep dive into my lyrics. Thanks for joining. This is actually my first podcast, or my first episode. I had the intro, and this is the first, so bear with me as I get through this, and hopefully you'll enjoy. So today we'll be talking about my song, Bitter Rain. It is off of the Runaways EP that I did with TYSHii back in February 2021. If you listen to my episode on Insert Artist Here, I talk about it and go into a little bit of the detail of how I first started singing with Ty, and I start with Bitter Rain. But today we're going deeper into the lyrics and into that story. So Bitter Rain was actually the first song that I recorded with Ty, or TYSHii, if that's all you know him by. I have been writing lyrics since I was 13, but this was the first one in 2020 that I actually recorded, so it holds a special place in my heart forever. Probably gonna get it tattooed, but that's for another day. So a little bit about the backstory if you didn't see the episode that I was on. I went to school with TYSHii back in the days. And I hadn't seen him in years and saw him at a friend's house, and he was like, "Hey, I just saw what you put on Instagram. I saw that you put out a little, like, I had it was a song that I had written, and I actually put it on Instagram. It was me playing the ukulele, the first time I ever actually had the guts to do so. It's not on there anymore because it's too embarrassing, but he saw that and saw me at this at my friend's house. Was like, "Hey, saw what you put out. Would you ever be interested in making music and coming and recording with me?" And I might have been a little drunk, but I remembered that, and I was like, that's not something that's gonna leave my head, like leave my brain. I don't care if he's joking. I'm gonna talk to him after this. So the next day, I hit him up. I was like, "Hey, I remember you saying that you wanted to maybe make music with me. I don't know if you're joking or not, but I would love to if you're down." So the following Friday, we had made plans the following Friday to record. And again, I'd never recorded before. I was terrified. And I had come prepared with some lyrics. I wasn't sure how, at that time we didn't have a process. So I came prepared, and I had some, I think maybe a verse and a chorus part of it, of Bitter Rain. I don't know if it was named at the time. No idea. But so I came with some of that done and a little snippet that I had recorded on my what's the app, the recording app, the Memos. So I was like, "Hey, here's a little bit of it. This is what I had. I had the chords and all that, and it was very, I think it was some ukulele, guitar. Here's what I have so far. If you want to take this and we can work with this." He was like, "Yeah, awesome." So he magically turned that little snippet and the chords that I had into the beat that is now Bitter Rain. And we were there. I don't know I think we finished it in that session, maybe in the second session, I don't know. But it was such an amazing experience. And I had actually almost stopped singing by then and writing because it just became so boring doing it on my own. And that moment was really just, it was life-changing. It's really dramatic, but that's who I am. And I never looked back. I kept going every week for, I think, months. Every weekend I would go and record with him. So yeah, that's what I wanted to start with. Bitter Rain. It was so special. Bitter Rain is actually about the environment. I don't know, some people don't listen to all the lyrics, but I'm guessing if you're here, you probably do. I guess when I started writing, it was COVID, and everyone got into their hobbies in COVID, and mine was sustainability, binge watching YouTube videos about zero waste. I by no means am close to zero waste, but I got really interested in that. Or, in classes, we always learned a little bit about, like, oh yeah, like the ozone layer and animals are dying, extinction, all that. But I really wanted to go deep dive into, the causes, and I was really moved, and I was really inspired and motivated to do something different and write about the environment instead of love and life, other parts of life. So that was the start of Bitter Rain. When you listen to Bitter Rain in the beginning, there is a snippet. It sounds like it's recorded elsewhere, and it actually was that little snippet that I had shown Ty at when we went to record. That's what I started with. So that was the birth, Bitter Rain. And we kept that in there just to keep, it was awesome. It was like the perfect, I hit every note. I wasn't off key. I sang the lyrics. So we're like, yeah, let's keep it in there. Let's start the song off with that little homemade vibe, bedroom vibes. So when you listen, just listen for that in the beginning. I think that was like the third iteration of those memos that I had created of that song, of that little clip. And it's interesting. The first clip was like, I had the notes, and it was like just like na 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 na. The second one was like a little bit of notes or a little bit of lyrics. You don't really hear any actual lyrics, but it was put together a little bit more. And then that third one was like, that was it. That's what we started with. Before we deep dive into the lyrics a little bit more, here's Bitter Rain. Take a listen and enjoy. We'll be back.
Hold my throat, don't wanna choke on the air. I cover my face, don't wanna faint in this place. Hold my throat, don't wanna choke on the air. I cover my face, don't wanna faint in this place. I take a breath, take a step, slow my pace. The air looks so clean. But I know the monster's clear. So I hold on to my life. I'm gonna fight. Won't let the fires take us down. We'll just rise. Take a look around this place before it's gray. I let out a tear for all the life that's disappeared. I'll take a stand with sweaty hands for those in fear. The air looks so clean. But I know the monster's clear. So I hold on to my life. I'm gonna fight. Won't let the fires take us down. dripping on our faces. No more tasting bitter rain. So hold on to my life. I'm gonna fight. Won't let the fire take us down. We'll just rise.
Robin, the family who lives here tells me they have been battling back these flames for the past 2 weeks, getting as little as a couple hours of sleep every night. People here are exhausted, and unfortunately it looks like things are just going to get worse.
Of millions of people, and they are currently struggling with the impact of this toxic air on their lives and livelihoods.
All right, now we're back. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you listened to the whole thing. Give me those streams. Just kidding. But yeah, let's dive in. So as I said, Bitter Rain, of course, is about the environment. So I'm just gonna do the structure for this episode and probably episodes following. I'm gonna go not verse by verse, but or lyric by lyric, but I'm gonna do little sections. Because although it's a cohesive piece, the lyrics when I wrote the song was really pulled in from different aspects of environmentalism and the issues that we face and the earth faces. And it was specific to the time that I wrote it, some of the lyrics, and then some of it's just more broad metaphors, blah blah, all that good stuff. Let's start with verse 1. Good old verse 1. So the lyrics go. Also, just bear with me. I feel like reading lyrics out loud is always really cheesy, but I'm just gonna do it because I don't know if you got to listen or what. So this is the first verse. I hold my throat, don't want to choke on the air. I cover my face, don't want to faint in this place. I take a breath, take a step, slow my pace. It sounds a lot more poetic and with the beat behind it, but it is what it is. When I wrote this first verse, I had just watched an environmental documentary. I think it's on Netflix. I don't remember which one it was, but it had to come out in like 2019, 2020. I think it was new. There's a part in the documentary in which they travel to an area that was damaged and destroyed by a nuclear power plant. I can't remember where it was. I bet you can name the documentary and the place, but I cannot remember. But I just remember the scenes, and they were, I think they had gas masks on. I just remember everything looking absolutely horrible. Everything was gray and just burnt, destroyed, a very little life. And that was the inspiration for that first verse. Walking into that scene, you could just see everyone and just like that fear of what was in the air at the time, the toxicity, the chemicals, and even like the dust that came up from that, and you just have no idea what's sitting in that air, and you just need to cover your face, because you just have no idea. Like if you stay there for too long, you might faint, you might get really ill, and that's what really inspired those first couple lyrics. That visual of just walking in to this desolate area, and no sign of life, and who knows if you will survive just sitting there. It's horrendous, but I wanted to get that across because we go day by day doing all these things that we have no idea actually are so horrible for the planet. So to really immerse yourself in what is happening in those areas that were specifically damaged, noticeably damaged. I think it's really helpful. Horrible, but helpful. So after the first verse is the pre-chorus. It goes, "The air looks so clean up there, but I know the monster's clear." And monster refers to air pollution, actually. If you didn't know, it's kind of obvious. I really want to talk about air pollution and it being a metaphorical monster, because sometimes you're going to see it and sometimes you just can't, and it's causing so many issues for all of us, unnoticeable. If you ever heard of the LA sunsets being gorgeous, there's a reason, and that's because there's so much dust and pollutants, especially aerosols, that are in the air, and like the smog in LA, that it causes more reflection. Like the sun has so much more to reflect off of, or the sun has so many more particles to reflect off of, that it reflects way more color, and those specific particles can create more intense colors. So you're sitting there and you're like, wow, like this is gorgeous sunset, must be magical, must be, something from beyond. But actually it's caused by extremely damaging and toxic pollutants in the air. And we can't see any of that, but it's still there, it's still lurking, it's still coming after us, coming after animals, coming after the environment and the ecosystems, which is just horrible. So on from the pre-chorus. I know when I read these out loud and I really go into each lyric and part, they don't seem cohesive at all, but that's the beauty of lyrics. You can just bring everything together. So after the pre-chorus, of course, is the chorus, the popular part of any song. So the chorus goes, "So I hold on to my life, I'm gonna fight, won't let the fires take us down, we'll just rise." With the chorus, I really wanted something uplifting. I wanted, you go into the storytelling, my usual way of writing. You go in with the chorus, or the first verse, so sad, just giving you this really horrible and just depressing depiction, or depressing picture for everyone. And then, of course, the monster. We think everything's just fine and beautiful sometimes, and actually there's something lurking, something above us that's taking over and damaging our planet. Even though all of that is happening, like we're still here. We're still fighting. We're here to fight. There are people, this new generation has said to really connect, or there's groups of people in this new generation that's here to fight for the planet and continue that fight that's been happening for decades, especially through BIPOC environmental organizations leading the forefront. And I really wanted to get that across. There's, we've gone through all this damage. We see these horrible things happen that humanity's causing, and yet there's still people out there that are here to be like, no, I don't really care. I mean, I care, but like, you're doing this and I'm not going to back down. We all know, most of us know, if you've been listening to the news, if you're on TikTok, if you're on Pinterest or YouTube, you've heard the stories that, especially that's with zero waste, a little tangent, zero waste. It's an awesome belief and it's an awesome thing to follow, but zero waste, that movement that got, no trash, no plastic, that got pushed back on us from big corporations to take that responsibility off from them. And no, you guys, you're the ones that lead this. You guys are creating tons and tons of plastic and pollutants and using fossil fuels and all that it's not us. It's not that one person that's throwing out the trash. That's great. Reduce your trash, but it's the big corporations that are causing most of it. We're not going to let that happen, Of course, policy change is extremely difficult, but we're not leaving. And the people that have started these organizations and these fights that have been passed it on to other kids and just have been getting that word out there, they're not leaving. Sorry. As much as you want to complain and make your money, it's not happening. That's really what I wanted to get across in those 4 lines. I mean, lyrics seem so simple and you can really just pack so much into it. That metaphor, I was actually, there's 2 meanings in that. The metaphor is in comparison to the Australian forest fires that were happening in 2019 and 2020. So I wrote this in 2020. It was right off the heels. Yeah, it was May 2020, and I think that's when the forest fires had ended. So I really wanted to make that comparison, that those fires that had raged on for months and months and months, that I believe were caused by human beings. That was the story going around. As horrible and unstoppable as they were, we still had people going out there and fighting them, and people donating money and helping out the animals and the people that were really affected by that. And that's humanity for you. It can be horrible, and you see the darkest of it, but you also see the beauty of it and the beauty of our world and the animals that inhabit it. So I went on some tangents there, but going on from the chorus, we go to the second verse, which goes, I take a look around this place before it's gray. I let out a tear for all the life that's disappeared. I'll take a stand with sweaty hands for those in fear. Wow, maybe I should do spoken word. It was beautiful. In this verse, you can tell that it's connected to the first verse, of course. And I really want to continue that imagery of just a desolate scene. Because again, it's difficult for us to understand the damage that is happening when we don't see it firsthand, and it's not like we throw out a piece of trash, we buy 10 million pieces of clothing and throw that right out, and we can't see that damage. And of course we talk about it and we know about it, but I think it's harder for us to understand the impact when we're not seeing it for ourselves. So with this verse, I really dive into wanting to be the voice for those who have no voice. The animals, specifically animals, plants, coral reef, specifically, I think is when I wrote this. That's what I was thinking about. But we've caused so many animals and plants to disappear, and so many illnesses and from the damage and the chemicals that we've let into this world. We've left so many areas of this earth desolate, and those animals have no voice. Those plants, of course, have no voice, and they're dying every day. And humanity also is dying from these issues, and we just can't see it, or we don't want to see it. It's just not what is covered as much. Illnesses and complications, breathing, your lungs from the smog and from inhaling all these toxins. Animals and plants are going through the same thing, and they can't tell us that. And I love seeing these documentaries because that's kind of giving the voice also. But I wanted to say that me and of course a lot of other people, especially environmentalists, also want to speak for them. And before they're all gone, we're already seeing so many species go extinct, and hopefully we can see what we're doing and the damage that we're causing, and care less about the money and care more about everything just disappearing. Yeah, so so sad. It's interesting because I feel like when I wrote this, the beat, it's not as depressing as what I'm talking about. You want to be positive, you want to be optimistic, and not like toxic positivity or optimism, whatever that's called. term. We don't want to be ignorant of what's happening and just be, sunshine, rainbows. I love sunshine and rainbows. But you can have that balance of reality and positivity, because, what else can you do other than try and fight for it? For a better world, for a healthier world. So yeah, from there, from the second verse, of course, we go into, let me look. Oh, we go into the chorus again. I'm not going to explain that. You heard it already. And then from there, we go into the bridge, which I think is one of my favorite parts. When I visualize it in my head, I'm, taking the stand. It's just like, bam. You won't understand that, but that's how I feel when I listen to it. But the bridge goes, fighting all the way to the stars, won't let that hole rip us apart. Acid not dripping on our faces, no more tasting bitter rain. So the first part of that bridge is about the ozone layer. The fight's not just here on the ground in the water, but it's also up there, up in the stars. I guess before the stars. Yeah, the fights, we're not just fighting fires, we're not just fighting big corporations, but all of those fights and all of that, all the policy changes that we're trying to make, is going to help us fight the ozone burning, ripping, I don't know the right visual, just to shreds. And actually, I was just looking this up because, I want to talk about my lyrics, and I'm not an environmentalist, so I talk about them very broadly. And of course, I don't know everything, so I wanted to do my research a little bit more before I spoke on these. But I just heard that they did another evaluation of the ozone layer, and the hole is getting smaller. So very excited about that. Keep fighting out there. So that's really good news, but it can always go the other way, like many things. So wanted to speak to that. And then, of course, acid not dripping on our faces, no more tasting bitter rain. That is about acid rain. I don't know if you've heard of it. It seems pretty easy to understand, which it kind of is. But again, I did a little bit more research, and it's a broad term for any precipitation that carries acidic components. So I'm not going to try and name them because then I'll sound dumb. But there's certain, from I think fossil fuels, there's certain acids that are created, or chemical components that are created, and they are put into our water. They somehow get into our rain or into our water, and snow, rain, hail, there's a ton of different ways, comes down, and it really has an impact that we don't see, of course, or a lot of us don't see, but it's causing a lot of problems for our ecosystems, and I believe especially for aquatic animals. It doesn't have to be a big change, but it can still cause a lot of issues. Fish not being born, or fish not hatching, illnesses being caused, and every little change in our ecosystem can cause such a domino effect all the way up to our big predators, and that of course can affect us. And I really want to just talk about that, all of these issues just in one. And it can cause issues for us, these acidic or acid rain falling on our faces, tasting it. You don't really taste it, but next time that you go out and eat snow, be careful. You never know. You don't know what's in there. The chemicals that are building up and collecting in our water. Not trying to scare you the next time you want to go taste snow, but yeah, just keep that in mind. So on from there, the bridge goes into the chorus again. So again, I'm not gonna explain that, but yeah, that is Bitter Rain. If you listen to it and you don't usually listen to the lyrics, and you're like, I wonder what this is about. That's what it's about. And it's funny, I've never really talked about it in full, because, whenever I talk about it, it's always like, oh yeah, it's about the environment, it's about the, the issues. And, we're about us taking a stand and not letting go, and, being that positive change for the rest of humanity, and for the people that come after us. I think we're becoming less ignorant to those issues and learning off of each other and from other communities, and, really using our platforms and using, news outlets, Instagram, to really get those messages across. And hopefully someone listens to the song and maybe thinks about a little differently about the next action they take, or the next time they litter, or, buy something that might be toxic to this earth. I'm not saying that that's bad, because it's really hard to do those things and make those little changes, and some people just can't, because usually a lot of those things come hand in hand with like more luxury stuff, like buying, like consumerism, and being able to do more sustainable things is usually at a higher cost. But start small, and just, the next time someone asks you to maybe sign a petition, or join a protest, maybe you'll think twice. And, every little thing changes, or every little thing counts, because, the popular saying is like, what can I do as just myself? There's so many people, but, like, can you imagine if every single person did something? Or, like, if every single person just signed one petition? Do you know what we could do? So, fight for policy change, fight for cleaner waterways, cleaner air, cleaner systems, cleaner everything. And just stay optimistic, not ignorantly optimistic, but what else can you do? You don't want to be negative about it all, because that's not going to change anything. So why not make a change? So that is it. I kind of just went off on a tangent a little bit at the end, per usual. But yeah, thanks for listening. This is my first episode of this podcast, and I really hope that people like it and take something away from it, and realize that songwriting isn't always just something that's done with an empty mind, and just trying to find a bunch of words that rhyme. So thank you. I'll be back. Also, I know I'm talking about Bitter Rain, but I'm also wearing my Sorry I'm Busy merch. I bought it for myself. That might be weird, but I gotta test it. So go check that song out too. I'll be doing that song soon. All right. Again, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye, guys.